or a news section on your website. And to be honest, that's a pretty hard decision for many businesses, and really there's just a whole multitude of factors that goes into deciding whether you should have different sections, or maybe you can have both as well. So I'm just going to briefly talk to you about how you can create a plan for whether you choose a news or a blog site, or maybe both, to ensure that you get maximum impact. Now first, let's say if maybe you're building a new website, you've probably got a whole lot of marketers in your ear, or SEO folk or website developers saying you need a blog, you need a newsroom. How about a media release section will do the trick? And to be honest, it's a little bit to get your head around. So what is a blog and what is a newsroom? So generally a newsroom is like an allocated section on a website where users can go and find out various news updates, product updates that are available on a company's website. So to compare both a newsroom and a kind of media center on a website, there's two different target audiences. The newsroom is kind of more for the general public. However, media centers is kind of more for those stakeholders of a company or journalists if they want to grab some information regarding maybe a statement that you put. And it's an own media platform that the company controls, and it's really good for your public relations efforts. This is kind of compared to a newsroom where it's kind of more for the general public about kind of general company news, corporate efforts, CSR, stuff like that. However, this is in contrast to a blog, which blogs are kind of generally a lot more perhaps informal, and it's used quite often by companies, whether it's to kind of educate readers on various topics to help guide them into making their final purchase decision. Blogs are also really interactive, and quite often there's also little comment areas on a blog where people can comment and leave their thoughts, especially if maybe they're dedicated to reading news blogs from a particular author that is really educated on a particular subject. It's a great way to be kind of a little bit less formal compared to a media center, and educate readers and inform them of anything to do with whether you're an author, a business, or an organization. So when deciding between a newsroom and a blog, it really can depend on a couple factors. So firstly is purpose, and purpose is really important because what are you trying to achieve by putting content out to the public? Is it to educate them? Are you a big company that you need a newsroom or a media center because there's a lot going on and readers need a kind of a dedicated section on to know what's going on? And maybe you've also got journalists too who are often tapping into your organization, and you need them to have a kind of dedicated area to give them the information that they need. It also depends a lot too on the tone and style that you want to achieve through your blog or your news section on your website. For an example, maybe with blogs, your product or service might be something that people need to kind of be educated on to be able to know that, okay, this is the reason why I need this product or service. So in terms of blogs, especially if you're in an industry that maybe the product that you're selling is actually really expensive, and it takes numerous processes for the customer to decide that they actually need to buy that product because maybe it's the price point, or maybe it's the industry that it's in. And so in terms of content left, quite often blogs are kind of longer pieces of content compared to a newsroom, and blogs can be anywhere from 1,000 words plus. You'll see lots of them on the internet can go up to 5,000 words on the occasion. It really depends on the topic that you're choosing and the resources that you have dedicated to doing that thing. I know you've got AI, but anyway, newsrooms and media centers, they're often quite shorter in content length, and they can be between 300 to 800 words because they need to be concise. And if you have a journalist needing to get some information, especially if you're trying to do it as a part of a digital public relations campaign, they need information short and concise, and they don't have the time to be reading a whole lot of fluff. So really with your newsroom and media center content, it really has to be to the point, nice and short, and then the journalist can get on and hopefully write about you. And there's also audience engagement. Blogs are really good in terms of in-depth queries and answering people's questions that they might have, compared to a newsroom, which is kind of a bit more kind of giving factual information and stuff about a company. And it's not really, I guess, the part of a great place where if people have questions, for them to kind of go and find that information, unless it's sort of something that's maybe in a short time span, or if it's something that's happening in a company. So can you use both? Yeah, you certainly can. You can have a newsroom, a blog, you can have a media center. I guess the keys are, and this is kind of best said in the words of Trevor Young, the key is, to kind of understand the purpose of each channel. What are you trying to achieve? Who's the audience? And what type of content are you going to produce and how often? There's so many examples of creative ways of how people have actually used blogs and newsrooms on their website. For example, Bondi Sands, they've actually made their blog called Tips and Tricks, which is different compared to many websites that just call that section blog. And that tips and tricks site, and I guess with a lot of the products they're selling, whether it's self-care and tanning products, a lot of people need education in terms of how to best use them, how to take care of your skin, and that's why the tips and tricks area is really relevant on their website. Another company that uses blogs and newsrooms really well is Bendigo Bank, and they kind of really need this because they're a big organization. Their blog tells the audience information about various guides of top tips to investing, and then their newsroom might be about various updates maybe to loans, and then the Bendigo Bank newsroom and media center, they kind of give various updates, whether it's to journalists, and maybe there might be an outage like there was the other day, and they need to inform their customers about the delay, but they're continuously working to go and fix that problem to make sure that customers still feel, at least even though they might be a bit dissatisfied, not as dissatisfied as what they could be. Qantas, another big example, they have a blog which is kind of more so about travel tips and travel plans, and then they have a media center for journalists. For example, if there's been a cancellation or if there's been various delays or travel issues that are constantly going on, because in the world of aviation a lot of things can change in a short amount of time. I hope you guys enjoyed and you kind of learn a little bit more about the role that blogs and articles have on a website, and whether it's best for your company if you're looking to build a new website, whether you should include a newsroom, a blog, a media center, or all of them. I hope you enjoyed. Please feel free to read the full article on my website, and I will see you in future videos.